Good evening and welcome to the 2019 University High School Academic Achievers Banquet here. We are so glad that you are here tonight. We are going to have a great time celebrating first and foremost our students. That is what this is all about here tonight, is the successes of our kids, our students here at University High School. And tonight we are celebrating our 10th and 11th grade students for their academic achievement success at University High School. So, I want to make a few recognitions here before we get going. First of all, as I said, this is all about the students. So students, would you please stand so we may recognize you? Thank y'all very much. We got a good-looking, great group of kids there. We know that this would not be possible without parents and family members. You have played a critical success in your child's academic success and their well-being here at University High School. So if you are a parent, family member, guest of one of our academic achievers, would you please stand at this time? Thank you all very much, and thank you for everything that you've done for your students, for your kids as their students at University High School. One more group I want to recognize. Each academic achiever got to pick one educator throughout their entire career. So that is a great honor for that educator to be selected by that student. So educators, invited educators of the students, would you please stand at this time? Fantastic. Thank you very much. I do want to introduce a few more people here. So as I call your name, please stand so we may recognize you. First and foremost, the person that is responsible for setting this up tonight here at University High School, our academic achievement counselor, Miss Renee Jacinto. Our cohort counselors at University High School, first of all, lead counselor Amy Brown. Miss Denise Clifton. Miss Courtney Copus. And Miss Jennifer Serrato. They do such a wonderful job there at University High School, and I know they have been integral in the successes of many students there. I also want to introduce our assistant principals at University High School. First of all, Mr. Brian Adams. Miss Lisa Kane. Mr. Demetrius Ellis. Mr. Derek Smith. Miss Lisa Walker. And I do want to mention his name. He's actually working a baseball game tonight. Mr. Troy Tinney is also assistant principal. Our Dean of Instruction, Miss Haley Rambo. Our Dean of Academies, Miss Christine Holacek. We also have members of the Superintendent's Cabinet. Would you please stand when you call your name? Mr. Kyle DeBeer. Miss Grace Benson. Dr. Scott McClanahan. Miss Yolanda Williams. and Miss Elaine Botello. We also have members of our school board here, and we are so appreciative of the work that they've done and continue to do for Waco ISD. So with us from the board, we have Vice President Alan Sykes. And our board member from University High School, Mr. Larry Perez. We thank them so very much. And last but definitely not least here, we are so thankful to have our interim superintendent with us, Dr. Hazel Rowe. We thank every single one of these people for their contribution to the success that we have there at University High School. Each of them plays an integral part in what we do there. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get the program started. I'm going to turn it over to Miss Renee Jacinto.
Good evening. It is my great honor and privilege to introduce our guest speaker for this evening, who happened to graduate from University High School back in 1994. Dr. Mito Diaz Espinosa is originally from Waco, Texas. He completed his undergraduate studies in history at Texas A&M University, continued on to receive a Master's of Science in Higher Education and Student Affairs from Baylor University, and completed his PhD in Higher Education Administration at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. The title of his dissertation is "I'm Here for a Reason: Motivational Factors of First-Generation Latino Males to Attend College." Dr. Diaz Espinosa currently serves as the program manager of the First in Line program at Baylor University, which is focused on working with first-generation college students. He has worked in the areas of admissions, recruitment, academic advising, and diversity programs. Please help me welcome Dr. Diaz Espinosa.
Good evening, everyone. How are y'all doing? All right, I gotta get a little bit more excited than that. Thank you, Renee, for inviting me to come speak. It's always exciting for me to be here talking in front of fellow Trojans. So as the saying goes, once a Trojan. I'm very excited to be here and talk. On behalf of Baylor University, let me also welcome you all. We're always excited to have visitors on campus. I know we have several Baylor alum in the audience, so thank you all for coming back as well. I'm going to share a little bit about who I am and my story, and I understand that I'm the only thing standing between you and these nice, pretty jackets back here, so I'm not going to take too much time, but I do want to talk a little bit about myself and why I'm standing here, and then I'm also going to try to give you a few tips and advice, if you would, of things that I've learned along the way, so just kind of bear with me. So as Mrs. Jacinto said, I am originally from Waco, and I'm proud of that. I really love Waco. I loved Waco when Waco, before it was cool, before everybody wanted to move here. So it's always special to me now that people know where Waco is, because for me, it's always been home. This is where my father's from and my grandfather are from. So it's always been home for me, so it's always been special. When I was really young here at Waco, my parents owned a business off of 5th and Herring, and life was really, really good. For all intents and purposes, you know, everything we needed, we had. We had a really nice, happy home. There was always laughter and love. We had HBO. We went out to eat all the time. We had big birthday parties. Everything was just great. But as I started getting a little bit older, things started to change around our house. My parents would fight a little bit more. There was a little bit more arguments. I started noticing things around the house changing. We didn't go out to eat as much, but that was okay because my mom's a really good cook. So we'd eat at home a lot. They turned off HBO, but back then the only thing they showed was reruns of Star Wars and E.T., so that was okay. But then other things started happening. So then we didn't have hot water. And the next thing you know, we didn't have electricity. And then we didn't have any water at all. And before I knew it, we had packed up a suitcase and a bag, and we were riding around Waco trying to find places to live and sleep. So we would stay with friends and family. I didn't know it then, but I know it now. I was essentially homeless. And it was a pretty rough time to be about 9 or 10 years old and not understand what that meant, not understand where you're going to eat and when you were going to eat again or what you were going to eat. So it was pretty hard. So growing up, I was very confused and didn't know why the good life I had was all taken away. So then we had to struggle. We eventually settled and stayed with my grandmother, who was just as poor as we were. They didn't have electricity either. So I used to have to do my homework on the porch before the sun went down. My dad and I would stay up all night playing chess by candlelight because we didn't have TV or anything to do. So it was pretty rough, and we had to manage. I had a cousin back then that worked over at La Fiesta restaurant, and he used to wash dishes over there. And when people called out sick, he would need people to come help wash dishes. And one time he came over to my grandmother's house and asked my brother to go help wash dishes. And he went and washed dishes that night, got home pretty late. He was dirty and wet, and he hated it, but he had a box of nachos with him. And man, those nachos smelled so good. To this day, I can still remember the smell of those nachos and how they tasted. Sometimes I go to La Fiesta and I order nachos just so I can know what that feeling's like and I can remember that. But he worked all night. They gave him $20 in a box of nachos, and that's all I could think about. He hated it. My brother did not like it. It was dirty and a lot of hard work. So 2 weeks later, when my cousin came back again, they needed somebody else. My brother conveniently wasn't there, but I was. And I jumped up and I said, I'll go work, because I kept thinking about those nachos. And I went and I worked, and I really enjoyed it. I worked hard. They paid me well. They gave me food. So I pretty much did whatever they said, whenever they said, and I was always doing things even that I wasn't asked to do. I got really good at washing dishes. They promoted me to a prep cook. So if anyone knows what that is, I cut a lot of tomatoes, cut a lot of onions, made guacamole, made rice and beans, those types of things. And then I got very good at that, and about 6 months later, they promoted me to a line cook. So I was a kid working with adults, having a good time, getting paid very well, and I thought that was it. I thought that's what my life was going to be. I was going to be a cook, and I was going to work in restaurants, and then one day I was going to probably own my own restaurant or something like that. Back then, in those days, and I'm from North Side, so I grew up in North Waco, and back then everyone in the 9th grade went to the same school. They went to the 9th grade center. But on the South Side, the university, 9th grade through 12th grade went to school together. And that just sounded like a lot more fun to me. So I decided I wanted to go to University High School so I can have fun with the older students. And it turns out that was one of the best decisions I ever made. Because when I got to University High School, I made a very good friend. His name is Eric Curley, and we had a math class together. And Curley was on the track to be who he is now today. He was in school all the time, advanced honors classes, GT, all those things. Because he cared about school and he always paid attention. School was very easy for me. I was pretty smart. I was very lazy. I didn't do a lot of work, but I did enough to get by, and I always scored really well on those standardized tests. So they placed me in the advanced classes, so I'm in class with Curley. And we had a math, I think Ms. Brown was our math teacher at the time, and we had a math assignment. And I finished everything before class was over, and Curley was stuck on a problem. So he saw that I was done, so he came over, introduced himself, but he was just trying to figure out who is this dude and how come he knew the math answers and I didn't. So we became very good friends, and it started a kind of competition between us. I used to like to make better grades than Eric just to make him mad. I didn't really care about school. The only reason I went to class is to play football. Because back then, if you skipped class, Coach Lee ran you to death, and those were some hard days out in the sun, if anybody remembers old Coach Lee and Coach Cross back then. But I just did it to keep up with Eric, just to kind of make him mad so I can prove that I can do just as well as he did. So that kind of went on for a couple years, and then somewhere in our junior year, he asked me a question, and he said, hey, where are you going to apply to college? And I said, come on, man, I'm not going to college. I said, I'm a knucklehead from North Waco. I'm going to work in kitchens all my life. I don't need to go to college. I grew up here in Waco with the shadow of Baylor University, and I believed that in order to go to college, you either had to be rich, you had to be white, or you had to play some sort of sport. And I wasn't any of those things, so I was like, I'm not going to college. Why would I even think about it? But because Eric asked me that question, he challenged me, and I thought, well, if he's applying, I'm going to apply. So I applied to college, got in. We both actually got into Texas A&M and decided to go there. And I was terrified, because I'm sitting here thinking, I don't do my homework, I don't read, I don't pay attention. What am I going to do in college? I'm just going to flunk out. So I got there to college, and I was really, really scared, and I worked really hard, and I actually did pretty well. But I was surrounded by a bunch of people that I thought were just so intelligent. My roommate's name was Walter Ebar. We called him Walt. He's a 6'2" white dude. He used to sit in his underwear and play his guitar in our dorm room. And I thought, man, I don't know what this is, but we're gonna have to stop this, because I can't come home to you in your drawers playing the guitar. That's just not cool. Eventually, so Walt's mother was a college professor and his dad was an engineer. He transferred to A&M, so he was already a junior by the time I met him. I was scared of college, didn't think I belonged there, didn't think I was smart enough to be there, and here's this guy whose dad's an engineer, mom's a professor, and he was an electrical engineering major. So I always thought, yeah, I don't belong here. I worked really hard in college, eventually found my way, realized that I could do the work and continue to do the work. And a couple extra years it took me, but I eventually graduated, came back to work here in Waco at MCC, decided to go back to college when I couldn't get any more opportunities. Somebody suggested that I come to Baylor and get a master's degree. And there I was again thinking, no, I can't do that. I'm not smart enough for a master's degree. I barely finished undergrad, and I definitely can't afford it. Well, it turns out they were going to pay for my school. So I came here, I interviewed, passed the GRE, did all those things, and they ended up paying for me to go to college. And that was also a very good experience for me and a blessing, as you would say, because that's where I met my now wife. And she was what I thought was the smartest person in the world. She graduated from Baylor. She went to law school for a couple years, and she just always had it together. And I thought, wow, she's too smart. How would I talk to her? What am I going to do? But eventually, after some time, and she'll tell you it was a little bit of hard work on her part to kind of whip me into shape, eventually we started dating, and then she was on her way to the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, to get a PhD. I said, great, I don't have anything else to do. I'm just going to jump in the U-Haul and go with her to Tennessee. Did not have any idea what that meant. We drove 15 hours and moved to this place that was really, really weird. It was in the Eastern time zone, so everything was kind of messed up. But at Tennessee, when you work there, they pay for you to go to college too. So they ended up paying for me to get my PhD there too. So I said, well, I guess I'll take classes here. And so she was finishing the program and I started the program. And because of her, she kind of pulled me through and I was able to finish and complete my PhD in higher education. I studied first generation Latino males because that's who I was and that's what I wanted to know is, why did people like me when I grew up with, they didn't go to college, but I did? How come I was able to graduate, but my best friend didn't, and he dropped out in the 11th grade? So I studied what that meant, and I learned a lot about belonging and finding support and what it means to be a college student. So now I work at Baylor University, and I run a program called First in Line. And my job is to help first-generation college students graduate. And it's lovely work. It's some of the best work I've ever done. Seeing those students go from the way I was, scared and intimidated, to now they're going to medical school, now they're going to law school, and they're going to graduate school. It's just a beautiful thing for me. And I'm really, really excited that my life took all those little crazy turns and put me in a position that I was able to go to school, do well, meet those people that were able to pull me along, and now I can help kind of those students succeed. So it's been a really exciting kind of journey for me, and that's kind of how I ended up here. So because of all that, I've learned a few things in life, and I'm going to try to share some of that wisdom with you all. The very first thing I want to say is be prepared for life and its crazy twists and turns. There's a lot of up and downs. There's going to be some really good days where you're going to be really, really excited, and then all of a sudden everything's going to fall out, and you're going to be lost and drowning and not understand. So be prepared for that. You all have done very, very well. You're in a position here where you're earning Letterman jackets for your academic achievement, so you've done way better than I ever did at your age. So continue to do that, but know at some point it's going to get hard, and sometimes life's going to take you into some crazy places. I grew up at a time in my life I didn't know if I was going to eat some days. I ate out of trash cans some days, and now I get to sit here with you nice folks and get this nice meal, and as you can see, I don't miss too many meals now, so I live a pretty good life. I was homeless for a period of time, but now I own the home that my parents live in, and my wife and I, we just built a house last summer. So I was able to figure out life and learn through that, and then now rode those up and downs, and now I'm kind of on a high again. So be ready for that. Be ready because life is crazy. Be ready for the lessons you're going to learn in the hard times, but it's okay to struggle because that's where you learn. So embrace that. The other thing I learned, and I kind of shared, is surround yourself with good people. Everybody always tells you that because they want you to stay out of trouble. But the reality is good people will motivate you to do better. So find yourself somebody like Eric Curley, who believed in me even when I didn't believe in myself and challenged me to do better. Think about your 5 best friends right now, the 5 people you're closest to, the people you have a long snap streak with, the people you text, the people that you're joking with right now. If those people are not making better grades than you, then you need to find better friends, because you need to be in places that challenge you to make you get stronger, make you get better. It's real easy to be comfortable and be on top and be surrounded by people that you're making better grades than. Go ahead and be uncomfortable. Find you some other people that are going to challenge you to make you better. Same things goes for your romantic relationships. If you've got a boyfriend, a girlfriend, or significant other, if they're not encouraging you, if they're not challenging you to make you better, you need to just go ahead and break up with them. I mean, if you've already rented the limousine for prom, you can wait till the day after prom. But eventually you need to break up with them. Because they're complaining about you getting ready to go off to college. They're telling you, don't go to college, stay here, I'll take care of you. They're telling you you're not smart enough to go to college, you don't need to go to college. All that stuff is going to make college that much harder for you if you choose to go to college. Break up with them now, learn to deal with it later, you'll find somebody else. Trust me, if you find somebody that believes in you, that'll pull you along, it'll make your life a lot easier. And make sure that you're listening and willing to accept help from the people around you, but also from other people that you've brought here today. Teachers, counselors, principals, a lot of those people have been through these struggles, and I know we're old and you don't want to listen to us because we're always telling you stuff, but find somebody that you trust that you can listen to, because it's going to get hard and you're going to have to ask somebody for help. So be ready for life's twists and turns, surround yourself with really good people, and if you don't listen to anything else I said today, remember this one thing. College has nothing to do with being smart. It has absolutely nothing to do with being smart. There's a lot of really dumb people who have college degrees. I meet people and I don't understand how they wake up in the morning and tie their shoes, but they have master's degrees. And that's because college has nothing to do with being smart. It's really about hard work, about discipline, time management. If you can figure out how to do that, you've got it made. Asking for help and getting help, but that's what college is all about. I've worked with students who were really, really intelligent. I had a student at a previous school I worked at. They only missed 2 questions on the SAT. So they were really, really smart. But they didn't think class was for them. They didn't do their homework. They were always bored. They skipped class and they just thought, I'm smart enough, I don't need to do that. And they ended up flunking out of school. They had their entire college paid for, but they didn't do the little things that they needed to do in college, and they flunked out. One of my really good friends growing up, his nickname was Nerd. That's how smart he is. He was smarter than me then, he's smarter than me now, and we nicknamed him Nerd because he just knew everything. He didn't like school. He didn't want to go to school. He didn't care about going to school. He wanted to play basketball and video games. So he didn't ever take the time to invest in school and go. So it doesn't matter how intelligent you are. College is really about those little things that you have to learn. And sometimes those life lessons you learn are going to be what gets you through college. So I talked about my buddy Walt, my roommate, and I'll tell this funny story about him that I always tell. One day I was walking into the dorm, up the steps into our hall, and I heard Walt ask our neighbor Brandon. He said, "Hey Brandon, the light bulb above the sink went out, and there was a 50-watt light bulb in there, but the only replacements we have are 100-watt light bulbs. Is it okay if I put a 100-watt light bulb where the 50-watt light bulb was?" And I heard Walt ask this question, and I kind of got really confused. And I said, "Walt, have you never changed the light bulb in your life?" And he said, "No." I said, "Man, you're an electrical engineering major, and you don't know how to change a light bulb?" And he said, "No, man, we deal with like circuits and stuff." And at that moment, I started noticing a lot of little things about him and about other people at college, that they weren't smarter than me. They weren't more intelligent than me. They just knew things that I didn't know, but I also knew things that they didn't know. And it was a really intimidating and scary place to be. But when it was time to eat and they'd already spent all their money, they would come to me because I always had rice and beans still left over, because I knew how to live poor and I knew how to make my money stretch. They didn't know that. They'd go to the grocery store and it was like a road trip at Buc-ee's. They were buying all kinds of stuff, candy and cookies and organic sodas and all this stuff. And when their parents cut them off, They couldn't eat. They didn't have anything else to eat. So they would come to me and I would make food for everybody, and this is what we did. But I learned then that it wasn't about being smart. It was just about figuring out how to play the game and how to do that. You all have to learn that. You need to learn about how to write about yourself, how to tell your story, and why it's important for you. You're going to write college applications and scholarships, and people like me are going to read those and try to give you money. If you don't tell me enough about yourself, then I won't give you any money, because it's really easy for me to not pay attention to those things. But most of us, especially if you come from a lower income background and you're poor, you don't like to brag about yourself. That's just something we don't do. Well, I'm here to tell you the people you're competing against at all the other schools and the wealthy schools, they're really good about talking about themselves. They can make cutting the grass seem like a big enterprise that they started their own business, and all they did was cut the grass for their neighbor. So you have to find a place that you can do that. If your grades aren't where you want them to be when you go to college, that's okay, because that's what college is about. You should be learning about those things. Don't get scared away by grades. A lot of us get scared of math class. But math is the course, in your senior year, you should be taking the hardest math class you can, because that's the class that'll teach you how to struggle and do things step by step. So embrace that. So be ready for life's kind of crazy turns and twists. Surround yourself with really good people, and just remember that college has nothing to do with being smart. If anyone ever tells you you're not smart enough to go to college, they don't know what they're talking about. You can send them to talk to me. Throughout this time, find people that you trust. If you can't find somebody that you trust, look me up. Ask Mrs. Jacinto for my information, or go on Baylor's webpage and search First in Line. I love helping students. I'll read your essays. I'll send you information about scholarships. You can come by the office and we can sit and chat about what you want to do. Life's a beautiful thing. You're going to learn a lot. You all think you're grown right now. If you really believe that you're grown, start doing those things that you need to do to prepare to graduate from college and be where you want to be, because that time is coming up faster and faster, and you're going to be wishing you were back in 9th grade before you know it, when you have to read 600 pages in a week and write 10 papers and do 5 exams in the same week. So it's going to get pretty hard in college, so be prepared for that. And then the last thing is, some of us aren't ready to go to college right when we graduate from high school, and that's okay. If you're not mature enough, be honest with yourself. You can lie to me, you can lie to your teacher, but don't lie to yourself. If you're not ready for college, take some time to figure out what you want to do and find that passion. I thought I was going to be a cook my entire life, and that was going to be a great life, and turns out that I was destined for something else, and now I get to impact everybody else's life and help them. So figure out what it is you want to do and find that passion, and that's going to help you get through to college. Thank you all very much for letting me be here tonight, and congratulations on your achievements.
Once again, thank you, Dr. Diaz-Espinosa, for coming out here and providing some words of wisdom to all of our group. So now it's the moment you've all been waiting for, the Letterman jacket delivery. So if I can have all of the sophomores please line up over here in alphabetical order. Okay, so we have Jessica Adame Esparza. Guests include Sylvia Adame, Rodrigo Adame, and Jennifer Serrato. Samantha Almendares. Guest Imelda Almendares, Juan Almendares. Emily Alvarado. Guests include Cecilia Alvarado, Martin Alvarado, and Sherry Prather. Nubia Arias Alvarado, Martha Alvarado, Raul Arias, and Katie Forbes. Next, we have Fernanda Candia Martinez. Guests include Elsa Martinez, Cesar Candia, and Edward Ibarra. Maria Contreras. Guests include Julia Contreras, Juan Contreras, and Leticia McMurdy. Mirka Cordero. Guests include Reynaldo Cordero, Julia Cordero, and Magdalena Aguilar. Henry Degalado Ramirez. Guests include San Juana Guerrero, Jose Degalado, and Samantha Priest. Amber De Leon. Guests include Yoli Eggers, Antonio De Leon, and Carolino Gutierrez. Sublimity Gaither. Guests include Gina Rodriguez, Anaya Gaither, and Tracy Minter. Aurora Garcia. Guests include Sandra Diaz, Miguel Garcia, and Kelly Cunningham. Trinity Harris. Guests include Tiffany Harris, Tevin Harris, and Jared Salubi. Leslie Hutron. Guests include Myra Galvan, Fernando Galvan, and Clark Nelson. Jada Medina. Guests include Nelly Medina, Antonio Medina, and Carolina Gutierrez. Sean Mooney II. Guests include Sharon Mooney, Sean Mooney, and Devin Lee. Sofia Navarro. Guests include Maria Hernandez, Pedro Hernandez, and Reyes Lopez. JC Olvera Perez. Guests include Yasmin Donahue Perez, Isle Olvera Perez, and Regina Cotton. Kayliana Ramirez. Guests include Jessica Bell and Andres Ramirez. Stephanie Ramos. Guests include Rosie Bautista Ramos, Jaime Ramos, and Anan Solodker. Corinne Rodriguez. Guests include Arenali Rodriguez, Abel Rodriguez, and Julie Sapal. Julian Rodriguez. Guests include Lupe Rodriguez, Gustavo Rodriguez, and Michelle Nelson. Sean Rodriguez. Guests include Stephanie Rodriguez and Julianne Rodriguez. Ishmael Romero. Guests include Maria Romero, David Young, and Kimberly Tecker. Ana Rubio. Guests include Margarita Balderas, Ciro Rubio, and Samantha Priest. Juana Rubio. Guests include Gregoria Balderas, Sandra Balderas, and Kamisha Alexander. Genesis Santos. Guests include Leticia Santos, Felipe Santos, and Maria Antonio. Yahir Serinana. Guests include Jose Serinana, Adi Serinana, and Reyes Lopez. Daniela Suarez. Guests include Connie Suarez, Felix Suarez, and Arthur Torres. Daryl Wayne Thomas III. Guests include Alexia Thomas, Daryl Thomas Jr. Hunter Torres. Guests include Lupe Torres, Jessica Torres, and Susie Walker. Ariel Turley. Guests include Vicky Turley, Jeremy Turley, and Shanna Lyles. Alma Vega. Guests include Patricia Valderas, Marco Jimenez, and Celisa Harrell. And that concludes our round of sophomores. If I could go ahead and have a round of applause for that group. And now if we can have our juniors line up, please, right over here. Alphabetical order. We'll start off with Nancy B. Marr, guest of Carolina Valderas, Castellano Mar, and Clark Nelson. Cassidy Copus. Guests include Courtney Copus, Cole Copus, and Ashley Keister. Yasmin Cruz. Guests include Rosanna Cruz, Robert Cruz Sr., and Caitlin Lehman. Veronica de los Rios. Guests include Mary de los Rios, Cesar Portillo, and Karen Ramirez. Laura Diaz. Guests include Juana Romo, Armanda Romo, and Kelly Cunningham. Joel Galan. Guests include Maria Galan, Joel Galan, and Devin Lee. Jalissa Giral. Guests include Jacqueline Vasquez, Hector Vasquez Jr., and Marlena Massey. Betsabel Jimenez Gonzalez. Guests include Maria Jimenez, Luis Angel Jimenez, and Devin Lee. David Juarez. Guests include San Juana Conde, Vicente Juarez, and Maria Macias. Jalissa Lewis. Guests include Mandy Mann, Joe Lewis, and Lacey Merrifield. Liliana Lira Viquera. Guests include Juan Gabriel Arias, Amir Arias, Larissa Lira Viquera. Guests include Elvia Arias and Elvia Vaquera. Albert Rodriguez. Deaudre Londonridge. Guests include Lamonia Harris, Donna Curtis, and Denise Gunn. Mercedes Luna. Guests include Elizabeth Coronado and Karen Ramirez. Felicia Marquez. Guests include Anita Barron, Alicia Marquez, and Katie Davis. Luis Martinez Diaz. Guests include Felipe Martinez, Francisca Martinez Diaz, and Mike Chapman. Janie Mercado. Guests include Delilah Rodriguez, Gloria Warjakis, and Lucy Murphy. Lander Miskalski. Guests include Jessica Kidder and Travis Aldridge. Diana Ortega. Guests include Claudia Ortega, Francisco Ortega, and Jeff Cunningham. Yvette Padron. Guests include Miguel Patron, Matilde Padron, and Joel Dunsworth. Estefania Pisano. Guests include Eugenia Pisano, Valeria Pisano. Lluvia Ramirez. Guests include Luz Ramirez, Sergio Ramirez, and Flor Lopez. Maria Regalado. Guests include Graciela Salazar, Selena Jaramillo Salazar, and First Sergeant Leonard Montelongo, Jr. Hannah Ruby. Guests include Vicky Ruby, Scott Ruby, and Kelly Cunningham. Gabrielle Taylor. Guests include Brenda Ramirez, Amaya Taylor, and Karen Byer. Luz Tenorio. Guests include Flor Tenorio, Rogelio Tenorio, and Joshua Canaster. Jonathan Tapal. Guests include Renee Tapal, Jasmine Tapal, and Devin Lee. Jasmine Thompson. Guests include Grayson Thompson, Sylvia Escobedo, and Amy Brown. Alana Thornton Sabito. Guests include Jackie Escudero, Paula Nowlin, and Stephen Salvinson. Leonardo Vasquez Olguin. Guests include Naomi Olguin, Leonardo Vasquez Olguin, and First Sergeant Leonard Montelongo, Jr. Leslie Vivanco. Guests include Erica Rodriguez and Johnny Vivanco and Diana Guajardo. One more round of applause for our junior academic achievers this year, please. I'm going to invite Dr. Edison up to give our closing remarks, and thank you so much.
All righty, what a special night this is to recognize our students for their achievements here. These are the nights that you remember 20 years from now. When you grow older, it's nights like these that you get the recognition, you get to be with your parents, you get to be with fellow educators and so forth. So embrace that and remember this night. I do want to thank one other person, Miss Ashley Duncan and the advanced academic team. We appreciate everything y'all have done to put on this event tonight. It is marvelous as always, so thank y'all very much. Just want to real briefly here leave you with a few words here. Anybody that knows me knows my favorite 3 words there: love, serve, and care. 3 of the most powerful words that we have in our English language here. Those words mean so much, and they mean different things to different people. But those are the words that we embody there at University High School, and that is love, serve, and care. And I try to pick out one of those from time to time to talk about. And tonight I just want to talk about the word love. There's things that you love in life, and basically my message to you is to love all of it. Love negative people, because they make you more positive. Love those who have hurt you, because they teach you forgiveness. Love fear, because it makes you more courageous. Love the struggle, because it makes you appreciate the accomplishments. Love challenges, because they make you stronger. And love competition, because it makes you better. Love every single minute of it. As I'm just going to call him Mito, still hard for me to call him Doctor there. I'm sure it is for him to call me Doctor too. We were classmates there at University High School, but as he said, there's going to be struggles. Love it. Love it. It makes you appreciate your accomplishments. It makes you appreciate your struggles. You learn to appreciate the struggles that you have in life. So love those things and love the challenges that life brings, because it makes you stronger. Thank you so much for tonight. This is going to conclude tonight's event. Once again, we appreciate every single thing that you do for University High School, and parents, we thank you for choosing University High School. We know there are choices out there, and we appreciate all of you sending your kids and letting us have the opportunity to educate your child at University High School. So thank y'all so very much.